You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Today, my guest is George Kavassilas. In 2003, George was to have an experience that changed everything. His galactic family visited and took him to a large ship situated closer to the Sirius star system. They facilitated an experience which saw George take a journey with his conscious spirit up through the dimensions of our universe, and he got to rediscover what life here in this universe is really all about. He was able to once again know who we all are, where we come from, and where we are headed. He makes a distinction between the spiritual hierarchy and Galactic Council of Light as his true family, which is not the same as a group calling themselves the Galactic Federation of Light. Having exposed the distortions fed in from the Galactic Federation of Light in 2004, he is here to reveal the deception and lies being imposed upon humanity from behind the scenes, empowering people from within, which allows them to make better decisions during this time of the great change. When I first saw and heard George in an interview, I knew that he was authentic and could help us comprehend the vast cosmic drama which is unfolding today. This show is the first of several shows, and I want to extend a special thanks to Cynthia for her kind emails and assistance in setting this up for us. So let's welcome George from Australia to the show now. Hi, George. How are you?
Oh, Lance, I'm very, very well, thank you. Such an honor to be here. And that's just such a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You can thank the Galactic family, not the Federation. We can get into that in a little bit. And I do want to thank you, too, for taking the time from writing your book and doing global speaking engagements and flying around the world to be here today. So, with that said, since we have about 55 minutes to explain the cosmic revelations to the rest of us, we can begin anywhere you like, but it seems like it might be a good idea to hear at some point how humanity has been and is being waylaid, dumbed down, brainwashed, and why, so that we can grasp the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's been a really long-term plan to achieve this. From one level, we wanted this from our collective human soul level. We wanted this to happen. So you could say that we kind of employed or contracted some energies which we refer to as the forces of darkness or the forces of limitation. Because, manipulative forces are not just in the darkness, they're also in the positive white light sector as well. They're on both sides of duality. So I prefer the forces of limitation label, actually, because it broadens the spectrum.
Yeah.
And we employed them, we contracted them. We wanted basically to achieve what we wanted to achieve here. We needed to be tested by the best this universe has to offer, and that's what we asked for, and that's what we got. Excuse me. And so this plan has been underway for many thousands of years, well over, like the most intense version of it has been implemented in the last 6,000 years. But this really goes right back into the Atlantean period and even beyond. So, it's come in phases, and towards the end of the Atlantean era was a big surge. And then after things changed and that cycle ended, and life on the planet, most of it was pretty much wiped out due to Mother Earth reacting to the technologies they were using. We then rebuilt everything and started again, basically, but this time the frequency spectrum had dropped, and this reality went to a new level of density. And in this era, which has been going for half the precessional cycle, in the last 6,000 years, so you could say the last quarter of the precessional cycle, it's just gone to a whole new level again. And that's when the beings from the moon entered into the equation in a really big way, and have influenced humanity in a very, very strong series of measures of control, so we can be suppressed and dumbed down. It's very systematic, and it's very insidious the way they go about it. Yeah.
Oh yes, and it seems that it's allowed for a period of time, because these entities that are playing God, that are acting like God, and accumulating the energy of our worship and our negativity and hatred and destruction, it seems that they have the technical advantage of operating outside of our frequency. So they have an advantage over us in that their plans can go on generationally. Some people seem to believe that the managers on the planet, the various families that are here to control and manipulate, that have great wealth at their disposal, are set up by those people. What is your finding about that?
Yeah, that's I would say in more than half. I'd say in the majority of the wealthy families, that is definitely the case. Definitely.
Yeah.
In the majority, that is absolutely the case. And I've even had experiences within my own personal bloodline, not that we're, part of that wealthy elite group, far from it.
Right.
Right, far from it. But just understanding what we are experiencing in the bloodlines that we have incarnated into. So having members of family that go back through the generations that were part of some of these secret groups. And so, yeah, it's really insidious the way they go about it. They infiltrate, and for want of a better term, they infest, I would say is a better word to use. They infest bloodlines on this planet and take control of them that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it also seems to me that those who are start out with a very positive and uplifting and good idea often have a quick and meteoric rise to fortune and fame, and that they're co-opted, and everything that they've created tends to filter back as a control paradigm. Have you found that as well, that no matter how innocent... Yeah, okay, got it.
Absolutely, and that system has been trying to get at me personally. I've been approached by certain people, I've met with certain people, and that energy is continually trying to assimilate me into its structure, and I just keep resisting. So I've had very trying and difficult circumstances along my journey in the past, throughout my life, and especially in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can only imagine what that might be like. I've had other people on the show who've been lifelong abductees, and it's not a picnic, and especially when it's part of the dark or the forces of limitation, as you call it. I like that, because they are ruthless. There's no conscience there. There's just one objective, and that's to absorb and or destroy, right?
Yeah, but, there's a real sophisticated version of that too, where they use what we call passive aggressiveness, where they use love against us. And that is the more sophisticated arm or branch of this whole operation. And it actually appears as though that arm or that part or that faction, if you want to put it, of this much larger cosmic operation, because this is cosmic cabal that we're being exposed to here. They have, it's huge, like it's an enormous paradigm, and so it looks as though you've got these people that are coming here and they're helping us and they want to do good for us, and they're in conflict with the dark, but people don't realise that there's something much larger at play here. And that these beings that are coming from the positive white love and light spectrum are actually part of a much larger infrastructure. Yeah. But from down here, it actually we have the appearance as though they're in opposition and in conflict with this dark reptilian Draco grey sort of faction.
Right.
And the sad thing is these two actually fall under the same umbrella. Even though they're factional and they do fight amongst themselves, they still belong to a much larger cosmic paradigm than people are aware of.
Mm-hmm. And that you mentioned that that's one of the dangers of the New Age movement, that it's really an Old Age movement because it's another aspect of the same controllers. It's just a different string from the puppet masters.
Yes, that's the point. That's very well put. Thanks, Lance. Yeah, it's a really good analogy to use.
Thanks. Now, you mentioned the beings from the moon, and I'm very interested in this because I've had some strange feelings about the moon for quite a long time. And when you were talking about artificial intelligence being there and that the moon was basically won in a galactic battle, I think that you were the one that said that it was taken over from the Pleiadians, and that it was originally designed to seed life throughout the universe. It seems like it has a very dark aspect to it, as does Mars. And I've talked to people who have actually been to Mars, and you're one of the people who's been there. Can you shed some light on this? And all the moons of Jupiter, I've never seen such a strange concoction in all my life. There are seams on these things.
Yeah, they are artificial satellites, and even though some of them look like naturally occurring bodies, they're still artificial satellites because the exterior and many layers of the external composition, because the core central part is a synthetic construct, and then what they'll take is natural elements and build it around it and build it and build it and build it and build it and create what from the outside, and what, radar that can penetrate a few miles into it would and instruments and technology that can look into objects will see as though it will appear as though it's a naturally occurring object, but it's not. And people just got to realize that what we're dealing with is, this universe has been around for a long time. It's not a few billion years old. It's not even 14 billion years old, as science would have us believe. Science is only as good as it is today. I mean, it was only a few hundred years ago people were saying the world was flat. So people just got to realize they don't understand the totality of it. And they give us some good information, but, if you want to make it everything, you've created a religion for yourself. So people got to realize that this universe is very old, and we're dealing with races and peoples and energies that have evolved over epochs and eras and eons of time of evolution. So they're very, very advanced, and they're very clever in what they do and how they go about it. And we shouldn't underestimate their capabilities. It's actually very important to respect what they are, who they are, and what they're capable of, because they're in service to us. Remember, we contracted these beings to come here and do this to us. So I know a lot of people have an issue with that concept, but it's the truth. I mean, if you think anything other than that, you are in victimhood. So it's time to own it.
Right, exactly. And also that's empowering because it means that we have the power to terminate the contract.
Exactly. and I'm terminating my personal contracts with certain energies of late, and doing it more and more and more. And Cynthia and I, we've been doing this, and it is the most powerful thing you can do. Yes.
How do you advise people or empower them to begin taking their power back? Is this a long, gradual process of understanding and an awakening to the truth that we are the sovereign beings here, and that we are the gods, goddesses, creators, and the male and female aspects?
Do you mind if I ask that we address that issue towards the end of the segment?
Yes, that would be fine.
It'd be nice to actually finish off with that to give people some empowering information at the end.
Okay,
and,
good.
At the moment, I'd still like to stay with the Mars and the Moon issue because it's a very big deal.
Good.
Of late too, Lance, I've had a lot of interactions with Saturn. And I'm not just jumping on the Saturn bandwagon. I'm having personal experiences to do with the Saturn energy. And it's just come to that point in time in my life where this is happening. So I would like to share some insights. It's some pretty big information. So with the Moon and Mars, because this much larger cosmic cabal has many, it's compartmentalized, so it has many factions to it. One of them is an arm that goes to the Moon, then from the Moon it goes to Mars, and then from Mars it goes to the Orion Nordics. So this is one branch. And when I say the Orion Nordics, it doesn't end there, but it's just a local office in our galaxy, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And because from our galaxy it goes out into the cosmos. So we're talking an intergalactic cabal. So there's that arm of it, and what you have at the moment is in what we call the realm of the shadow government. There are many members of our military, of our Air Force and what have you, that are working in conjunction with these Orion Nordics. And they present as though they're an angelic type of race, and they're highly spiritually advanced, and they're very loving beings and all that. But I assure you, the moment you do not conform to what they want you to do, then their true nature comes out. So as long as people are functioning within their program, and the way they go about doing it is really clever because they use love against humanity. So they use the energy of love so that the person they're persuading, influencing, and in their words, guiding and nurturing, in my words, persuading and influencing, right, into conformity, right, is my perspective, my take, what I experienced in my personal interactions with them, the techniques that they use are very, very clever, very sophisticated, because they've got to want you to want to do it. They make you feel special, and they make you feel like you're a chosen one, that you're a special one that's been contacted, and that they give you a mission,
Oh, right.
And they give you, and they approach it in that way. So, and it's all about stroking the ego in a very sophisticated way. So they make you think you're doing it from a heart-centered place. You're doing it for the good of humanity, and you're not coming from ego. Yet you are coming from ego.
Yeah, right.
And I hear people who are on the speaker circuit who talk about these beings are in contact with. Most of them call them they, is the most common term used to describe them. They never really go to any detail as to who they are. It's always they. I always explain who they are whenever I use the term they, I always explain who they are. I have a whole section in my seminars which I call they. Let's address they. It's always these beings. It always comes back to these beings. And, we're always talked down like humanity is a backward race, that we're immature, that we fight and squabble amongst ourselves, that we're lowly humans, we're pathetic humans, and we need nurturing, we need guidance, and we need to be welcomed into the galactic community, and that's their perspective. So whenever you hear that, that's the giveaway. And some of them say they come from our future, and I go, come here, little child, we know what's going on, and we'll look after you. And that's kind of the angle that they come from.
Yes, yes. I'm familiar with a lot of that channel information, and my gut feeling is exactly as you state. Anytime they look down at us and treat us like little children, and there's any sense of condescension, I know that's a big red flag for me. You can take your information and shove it.
Well, yeah, because in the travels that I've had in the universe and the races that I've interacted with, once you get past this faction, which is really in relation to the rest of the universe, they're a tiny, tiny fraction, even though this paradigm can seem as big as a universal paradigm in itself. And it actually can even look as a multiverse because there's so many smaller paradigms within this much larger paradigm. I'm just giving you perspective here, that when you get to the much larger extent of life in the universe, we are actually held in the highest of regard and the highest of esteem and of all races in the universe, because who and what we are and what we're achieving here.
Well, now that might be a good time to segue into what it is, who we are, and what it is we're achieving here, and when. I think that's something that is on a lot of people's minds, because we have all kinds of dates that are being tossed out there. Some of this seems to be numerological information that could be seeding ideas so that we're carried along the wind of what they want us to do and believe. 11, 11, 11, 11, 28, 11 was supposed to be, or 10, 28, I think was the end of the Mayan calendar according to some people. And you have some dates that you are aware of, which are closer to 2012 and beyond. So maybe we could have a little light shed on what it is that we're doing here, because sometimes I don't know myself. And when will the game board end, and what happens?
Yes, what we wish to achieve here is by entering this galaxy, which is a fractal of the universe, of the cosmos, shall I say, and the universe, really. And we needed to reintegrate all our fragmented aspects, because we journeyed down through the universe and explored all these different realities and paradigms. So we have all these aspects of ourselves scattered throughout the cosmos and throughout the universe. And we needed to start bringing that all back into some form of integrated state of being. So the Creator decided to take every galactic system out there, compress it to a star system, and put it inside one galaxy. So this galaxy, every star system in this galaxy is a fractal of a galaxy. So this is like, to reintegrate everything, a more compressed arena needed to be created. And that explains why this reality is so dense, because we entered this galaxy, then we went to the Orion Nebula to transmute a whole lot of male warring archetypal energy. That's why it's known as the Hunter. It carries that vibration, the foundational vibration, which can facilitate those experiences. And then we came to this solar system, and then we came to this planet. So we've been on this road to compression, and this solar system is a fractal of this galaxy, which is a fractal of the universe. So this solar system is a fractal of the universe. And then we came onto this planet, which itself is a fractal of the universe. It's incredible. This is the microcosm of the macrocosm. So the whole of the universe is represented here on this one planet. And that's why this reality is so dense. And we've been on this road to compression because we're taking everything, we're putting everything back in a 0 point. We're reintegrating everything into a balanced and harmonized state. So all our dualistic aspects need to be embraced and integrated so we can end. We're bringing to an end. We've chosen to come here because we've journeyed through this universe. We've been everything. We've done everything. And we now need to reintegrate everything.
That makes so much sense. And the reintegration process is much more rapid, isn't it, than the densification that we're experiencing? You point out so beautifully that we've never sunk lower in evolutionary scales. We've devolved, and it's ironic that our poor little egos are so fragile that we've been convinced that we're at the apex of creation. So I find that to be pretty comical. when we haven't even gotten out of the dark ages yet. But here we are, ready to emerge from density. Is this anything like the out-breath and in-breath of God that is spoken of in some of the religions? Or
it's another version of that, because the in-breath and the out-breath, for me the alpha is the out-breath. Some people see it the other way around, but for me the alpha is the out-breath and the in-breath is the omega. It's the ending. And alpha is the alpha and omega. The omega is the ending. So for me, the in-breath is coming back towards center. So that's how I see it, and we are in the omega cycle here on this planet, and that's why a lot of people chant Om, because it's bringing in that vibration of Omega.
Oh.
Okay, that's what the Om represents as well. It's returning back to the whole and sanctified state of being, which some people refer to as a Godhead.
Ah. Now, this is supposed to occur for us for those who choose this path, in a few stages, according to what I'm picking up from you, and that is that there will be a shift into 5D, or kind of like a platform of collecting the energies of the various souls that have been here, and then from 5D there's an expansion into back into the higher. Can we have a little more information about that process that will occur, and then what happens to those who choose not to? Is there a choice, or is this one of those moments when the Creator, God, Goddess, has established this is it? You guys had your fun. We're all going to get back together again.
No, it's an individual thing. The way the Creator functions is it's an individual thing. The Creator never orders people around. That's actually not true. Mm-hmm. We all work in conjunction. Maybe what people perceive as being ordered is what their greater essence has created in conjunction with the Creator. And so the lower ego is trying to take control of its course and destiny on its own, mm-hmm. and doesn't like the fact that the greater, the higher self of the person, the I am and the much, those greater aspects of self are actually have its free will, and it's got its own plan for its soul growth. And so that's what happens is what people deem free will down here, we don't actually have free will. That's only an appearance, or for want of a better term, it's an illusion. Because I, George, did not create this life that I'm having. I, George, am the personality of this aspect of me that is living the experience of this life. Mm-hmm. But I didn't create this life. Mm-hmm. A greater aspect of me created this life. George didn't decide to incarnate. George is the incarnation.
That's an important distinction for us to make. And there's a lot of confusion about whether we have choice or not. And I think what you just said is that it's a paradox, that it appears to be choice, but at a higher aspect, there is no choice, really.
From a higher perspective, there is no choice. That's right. When you get into that place of releasing and surrendering your ego, not to angels, not to ascended masters, right? But to the greater you, the part of you that is in these higher realms and is one with the Creator of this universe, is in harmony and in sync with all of life. You release and surrender to that part of you, then what happens is you get this flow that starts emanating from within you. Mm-hmm. Because your course and destiny in your life you're having down here is now more in synchronicity and harmony with the universe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whereas whereas if you are functioning from the appearance of free will from down here, then the decision making, the origins of all that decision making is coming from a lower ego perspective. Mm-hmm. Right. You think it's the right thing for you, but it's not. And that's what these other what the forces of limitation want to promote. They want to promote, what about your free will? What about your free will? You have free will. They want to continue to push that and promote that, because they know that when you're making decisions from the lower ego, you're coming from wants and desires and fear and all that. And so that's not the real empowerment. They know that. So they're going to manipulate that for all it's worth.
And they've had quite a long time to develop their abilities to manipulate, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're no dummies. They know what they're doing. And that's great. I mean, that's why we contracted them, because we wanted the best.
Yes, we certainly got it.
Yeah. And so what's happening here is we've come to this planet to reintegrate everything and then birth into this new way of life, because the question is, what are we doing here? You know, why are we in this universe? And who and what is this universe? You know,
right.
So we've entered this universe to learn how to be like this universe. The construct of this universe is light. Mm-hmm. When I travelled through this universe and I got to the very edges of it, and yes, this universe currently has a finite existence at the moment. It's growing, but it's not infinite in its size. In its physical nature, it's not infinite. Its potentiality is infinite. But when you reconnect with that greater aspect of yourself, we are inside a universe, and it's in the name. Universe meaning one verse, so it's one expression of life. And then when you look beyond this universe, and you look into the multiverse, you see a myriad of universes out there. Like, it's countless. It really is countless, the amount of universes out there. It's unbelievable. And all those other universes are us. We all have our own universe. and they're all different expressions. And from a high level, we decided to express ourselves as universes. And that's what we call them. They're the labels that we use here on Earth. We call those expressions, we call them universes. And your universe, Lance, is different to my universe, because each time you express yourself, that expression, that unique expression, has its own energetic makeup. Just like you as Lance, our foundational energies might be similar, but you have different a DNA code sequence to me. So we have, you physically look different, your energetic pattern is different, you vibrate different, you're expressing yourself differently to the way I am. Yes, we're connected at the core, of course, but the way we're going about expressing ourselves in this projection as George and Lance, it's uniquely different. It's the same out there on a universal structure. When we express ourselves as universes, each universe that is expressed is its own unique personality and its own unique energetic pattern, and therefore provides its own unique set of circumstances and experiences. And so we're all inside of you, and we're learning how your expression and your construct. So you've got your own divine plan happening, and you're God to us, the creator of that universe, and we're going through the process within you to learn your expression. And so when you understand that concept, then you realize that, okay, that means we've come into this universe to learn the construct we call light. And so there's what some people want to call God, and then the creator of this universe. Other people have different ideas about what God is. I'm not too happy with that label because of all the different connotations it has.
Right.
So I like to use, like, there's the creator of this universe, and really when you reconnect with the higher aspects of yourself, it's the first being that will tell you, you know what, you exist infinitely beyond I do, as a universe. So That's the reality. The reality is we're all infinite. We're not born or spawned out of some God matrix construct. That is such a lie. And there's no supreme being that is the ruler and creator and the ruler of all things everywhere in all levels of creation. That is just a lie. That is an idea and a concept that is propagated by an entity that is inside this universe and the lower domains of this universe, that is claiming to be this entity called God, the creator and the ruler of all things everywhere. So it's very important to make this distinction, because we always have been and we always will be. And we've never been born or spawned out of everything. We just have always existed, and we are infinite. And we're all infinite together. So we are all the all together. And there's no beginning and there's no end to us. That's really, really important and very empowering piece of knowledge to, I would say, not to learn, I would say to remember.
Yes, very important stuff. And once we remember this, and it does seem to take a long time to peel away the layers to actually begin to experience it, in your life, then it seems clear that once the fear of death is gone, once you know that you are more than your body and more than this life, then the control paradigm falls apart.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm curious about is there's a lot of talk about the Sophionic myth and the difference between organic and synthetic life, which some people refer to as archons. Is that something that you would like to address today at all?
Yeah, that's okay. I haven't read those texts, but my intuitive understanding of that is that the culture that wrote those texts are using the label archons, and it's used by more than one culture. Just like you can call, there's the different cultures have different names, because each culture has its own interpretation of the creator of this universe, the consciousness of who and what this galaxy is, who and what the sun is, who and what this planet is, So you find that in each culture, they have pretty much their own interpretations. And there's a lot of confusion because of the labels that we use from all these different cultures. So to me, the archons are the same group that I'm warning about when I'm talking about these paradigms that have been created. And for me, our Earth Mother, the consciousness of who this being is the divine feminine, the feminine aspect of the creator of this universe, who has manifested herself directly as this planet to facilitate this birthing of, this new way of life within her universe. And she's also the galaxy. She's also Cirrus. So she's down here and having a participatory process, because this is how the creator functions. The creator doesn't sit there all high and mighty and we're all inside of it and we're having experiences and it just sits there on the highest levels and doesn't get directly involved.
Right.
Sure you can say it's directly involved through each and every one of us. I totally understand that concept, But people also need to realize that if we are down here and having an experience, and we are having the experience of being the appearance of separation, then so will the creator also do that. Because put yourself in the position of the creator. So you've got your own universe. Are you going to sit there all high and mighty while beings go within you and have all these challenging experiences?
No.
What kind of creator are you going to be? Or are you going to get down and dirty with the people? Everything that you facilitate, you're actually going to experience yourself as one of the people, as one of those beings in each one of those paradigms and realities and levels within your own universal embodiment.
That makes perfect sense to me. It just makes perfect sense. So the forces of limitation would have to also be part of that creation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had this wonderful debate once with a Christian, fanatical Christian, and we just got on the subject of evil, and I said, "Oh yeah," and I said, "You do realise that God created evil?" And he just went crazy. Of course not. God didn't create evil. That's the work of the devil. And I'm like, oh, okay, so your God is the creator and the ruler of all things everywhere. Of course it is. Does evil exist? Of course it does. So God created evil. Oh, no. That's the work of the devil. And darkness is the absence of light.
I see. And, of course, the devil exists outside of God.
Yeah. Yeah. So is your God the creator and ruler of all things everywhere? Oh, yes.
I love it. Are we going to be alive long enough at this? Well, it looks like we are if the time frame holds up about 2012 and 13, but to actually see the old paradigms, the lies, deceit, and thousands of years of deception and manipulation and death and torture, all of the horrors that we've gone through, and the great and the wonderful times, are we going to see that unravel and come to a head and the truth come out? It just seems that this web of lies and shallowness just goes on, and just when you think it can't get any lower, it just gets more trivial and more controlled.
Let me put it this way. What is happening is the veil is lifting. The curtain is moving. It's opening, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what that is now facilitating is the opportunity for us to reconnect with the real truth and the true light.
Mm.
So there are those who are going about it, and there are those who are waiting for it to happen in the public arena.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the mental way of going about it through the mind and through
Right.
the external means, and then there's the internal way of going about it. And I'm going about it internally,
Mm-hmm.
whilst everybody's still waiting for it to happen externally.
Yes. Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm the only one doing it. There's plenty that are doing it internally. You've obviously begun, otherwise you would not be resonating with any of this.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
So
without the
first-
evidence.
Yeah, it's important to acknowledge what where we're at. So there's many people already going about it, but
Right.
we keep habitually, our attention keeps getting diverted
Yeah.
externally. So everybody's waiting for the truth to be revealed,
Yeah.
whereas it's already available.
Right.
And what we need to do is reintegrate internally with it.
Yeah. Absolutely, right on. That's a very profound statement right there. Now
They don't want to reveal it externally.
Now,
If you wait for it to turn up on your 6 o'clock news.
yeah, really. Well, with the speed of light being the fastest thing in the universe, we might have a long wait.
Yeah.
Now, how is everything, our journey, since we're part of the Divine Mother in so many different ways, how is our journey synchronized with that of the Divine Mother embodied as the consciousness of the planet?
Can I get you to ask me that question again, please, Lance?
Yes. How is our individual fragmented journey synchronized with the larger cycle of the Divine Mother Earth, which we're part of and on?
Yeah, we're in total synchronicity, even though it doesn't appear that way. We are, because Mother Earth herself has gone through, I'll say her lower ego, which is what I refer to as the Lady Gaia personality.
Uh-huh.
Because that's when in the relationship I have with my Earth Mother, and this is the forgotten process too. They've driven a wedge between in people's awarenesses between their functioning egoic conscious awareness and the planet they are incarnate upon. People have forgotten this woman, this planet.
Mm-hmm.
They've forgotten who she is. They've forgotten basically that she nurtures our existence every moment of every day.
Right.
She's facilitating an incredible experience for us all here, and she gives us the air that we breathe and the water that we drink and the food that we eat, and we're swimming inside of her energetic patterns, her ethereal templates, her magnetic chamber. We are so one with her. For starters, your higher essence is in her heart. That's how your incarnational construct got to be here. You had to merge and integrate and become one with her so you can have this incarnational experience here. That had to happen first before that higher aspect of you could project your incarnational aspect into your incarnational construct. So in the heart and the core of the Earth Mother is that higher aspect of you. So people say, how do I connect with her? Well, we're already connected with her. The only thing that's stopping us, you could say, from being fully connected with her in that sense is a partition in our minds. It's just a wall that they've created in our awareness, in our minds. But energetically and physically, we are completely connected with her. And so it's all about just conscious awareness. And it's all about moving beyond that mental wall and partition and becoming aware of her once again and rekindling that incredible relationship we all have with this incredible woman who has given so much of herself. The Lady Gaia personality, which is her lower ego as a planetary being, is the crust and the natural environment upon that layer, that crust. When you go deeper into her heart, you hit what's called the Christ Sophia energy, which is a feminine version of the sun. And that's in the core of this planet.
Wow.
So the concept that it's molten iron core is just a load of crap, because they've never actually drilled down into the core and gotten the sample, right? Let's just be real about this.
Right.
Because the magnetics involved, there has to be iron involved. I mean, that's so primitive, that way of thinking.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. As is the science of today, it seems. Even though there is the technology far beyond anything that we're allowed to know, and some people are starting to talk about the Civilization 1, which is coinciding or coexisting, which we, in essence, have paid for through the milking of the financials to pay for these underground black operations. So all of that seems to need to be reintegrated somehow. What happens to the forces of limitation as the veils thin and these energies start to manifest more around us?
Yeah, it's kind of like a sieve, if you want to put it that way. Because the energies here are increasing in frequency, all those other energies now are finding it more difficult to exist here. In other words, the energetic patterns of this reality are now becoming very detrimental to the health and well-being of those entities and beings and even people that wish to function in that frequency spectrum of old.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Mother Earth is changing, and they are being squeezed out.
So, as I'm hearing this, one of the best things that we can do on our own part is to work on raising our own frequency, which in turn has a kind of a wave effect or ripple effect, and reduces the amount of the lower frequencies that are able to manifest. Am I saying that right?
Everybody needs to get selfish in a good way.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah, I like that. Good.
And really, we need to really focus on ourselves. I mean, the last few weeks I've been doing massive internal work. And we need to really work on ourselves, because as we raise our frequency, as you said, it has a ripple effect, and we lighten the load for Big Mama. It makes it a lot easier for her. And we also empower ourselves. So then when we do function, we're functioning with greater capacity, with greater wisdom, greater awareness, greater power, and we're far more effective. And we're far more efficient. And the effect that we do have for those around us, the reality around us with the Earth Mother, and eventually, because this is a microcosm of the macrocosm, the effect we have in the universe is massive.
Yeah, oh boy, another, well said. You know, I felt this myself, and it just seems like the only thing that is important anymore is learning how to be of service to all, and the way I'm doing that is by, as you said, being selfish and working on my own energy levels. And it's an interesting process. You mentioned that you're going through a lot of internal processing now. Can you share some of what you're finding for yourself and some of the revelations that are coming to you at this time?
Yeah, I just went through a massive interaction with the consciousness of the planet Saturn. I came to realize that I've had some contracts with that entity, and Saturn is not what people think it is. It's really quite, controlling.
That's what I thought.
It's the headquarters of the Great White Brotherhood in our solar system. And the Great White Brotherhood is not what people think it is. It is positive white love and light. And people think, well, how can that be bad? It's an energy that uses light, that uses love in a very controlling way. It's a passive-aggressive energy.
Oh.
And it's the energy that's behind virtually all the religions and definitely the New Age movement.
Uh-huh.
So while the Orion Nordics are also connected to this is the more sophisticated branch now of control of this intergalactic cabal.
Mm-hmm.
And because it goes through to the planet Saturn and who and what Saturn is, being one of the archetypal personalities of the Creator, people need to realize that this is going all the way to the top. Like what ultimately controls Saturn is the Creator. It's going to sound really strange. I don't know if people can get their heads around that. But Saturn will never admit that it's working in conjunction with the Creator. It's like the devil works for God. Let me just put it bluntly. The devil works for God. Do you think the devil is ever going to admit that it actually works for God?
Probably not.
No. Of course not. So just to put it bluntly, in terms and labels that we're familiar with, I just thought I'd explain it in that fashion. So the entity we know as Jehovah is actually not only a physical embodiment of an entity roaming the cosmos, it's also, he has his aspect as a planetary body, and in our solar system, he is Saturn. And I had a personal interaction with that entity. Sounds crazy, I know, to some, but this is what happened. And it has to do with soul contract. It has to do with me being one of the many beings who played a very big role in creating this reality. We are part of a large group who came up with the idea to create this galaxy in conjunction with a Creator. And we've been managing this galaxy and this solar system and this planet for a very long time, and we've got these contracts and agreements with these beings, like that I mentioned earlier. We will contract you to come and do this to us, and they've forgotten these agreements, and now we're reminding them that the contractual arrangements have ended and they must pack their things and go. But they're so addicted to feeding off our energies that they can't bring themselves to do it. So we have to, use other methods to remind them of who and what they are, who and what we are, and that, we're all about becoming sovereign, universal beings in our own right.
Now, is there a chance that this could go awry? It sounds like a pretty heavy-duty battle, in a sense, with those who are clinging to the control paradigms, the power, and the rest of it, and feeding off of us. And we haven't even begun to come into our sovereignty yet. I mean, most people think that they're less than a pitiful, pathetic human being, which is just the lowest rung on the ladder.
He's pretty good at it, Big J. I reckon he's done a really good job. And, and he's got that other aspect to himself, which, he knows how to use love against humanity. He's very good at it. And he's the god of the religions, and he feeds off everyone's worship. He's as powerful as he is because everyone feeds him. And people just need to realize that they feed him in many ways. If you give your power over to an ascended master and you meditate and you're using that entity's light to come in and do healing for you, and you anchor that into your body, you're being fed off by Jehovah, because that ascended master entity is simply an ambassador for Jehovah. And Jehovah is just one name. He has many, many names, this entity. I'm just giving you one that you're familiar with.
I like what you say about us bringing into existence our own light from within. Rather than to call on these other powers, which are more than happy to empower us, but there's a price tag, contracts and attachments and courting and the rest of it. We can bring or manifest our own star from within ourselves.
Yeah, that's what a star seed is. We're all star seeds, so we're all in the process of turning this planet into a star as well. So Mother Earth is becoming a body of light, so bring your own inner light out. It's what we've come here to do. Shine your light, Lance, and shine as brilliant and as bright as you can. And all we need to do to achieve that is to be authentic. And if you want to use a meditative process, as well as just being authentic, you can meditate, go within your core in the middle of your chest there, and which is around the area of the thymus, and pull your light out, bring it out, and shine from the core of the essence of your being, and watch your life change.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, now we're headed towards the last 4 or 5 minutes of the show, so this is a good time to ascend on a positive note, and whatever you'd like to share during this last time, including anything that, your websites and the rest of it, and where we can find you, would be terrific.
Well, my website is our-journey-home.com or our-journey-home.com, whichever way you like to put it. And there's a whole plethora of goodies there for people to peruse through, many interviews, and 90% of the material I provide is at no cost. And it's, for people who really want to just get through all the crap, I'm helping to provide that perspective. Do I have all the answers? Of course not. But I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on. And because I'm still functioning from limited awareness, so maybe there's a couple of things I don't get quite right, but people will get the general idea of where I'm coming from and what I'm, I do talk in the affirmative sometimes when I express things because of my own personal experiences, but I can assure you there's many layers to the deception, and I just want to bring to people's awareness that it runs further and farther and deeper, and the magnitude of it is much greater than we're being led to believe. And I'm lucky I have the point of reference because I travelled myself personally and saw it for myself, not because I read it in a book somewhere. And I ask people not to take my word for gospel, but really the availability within themselves is there now to go within and start connecting with themselves. A way to put it is to sit quietly and recede back into yourself, if that's a concept that people can try and grasp and understand. That's how I tend to do it. It's like you fall or recede back into yourself, and you end up getting to the core of your essence, and it's beyond the chakra body. This is the point I want to make. The chakra body is not it. The rainbow body is not enlightenment. The rainbow body is a high state of being of what we're in now, but when I was in the fifth dimension, it was that state of being is beyond the rainbow body. The chakra body and the rainbow body, also known as the rainbow body, is a fourth dimensional construct. It's a fragmented state of being. In the fifth dimension, in this lifetime when I reintegrated with that aspect of myself, I have a single energetic center in the middle of my chest. Because there we're back in oneness, in singularity, and in harmony with creation. When we go from there and project down into the lower domains, that single energetic center fragments into many. So people need to understand that beyond the rainbow is the pot of gold. and somewhere over the rainbow is a land that I've heard of way up high. So please understand the codes that is in these songs, and we've got to go beyond the chakra body to get to the real good stuff. If you just focus on the chakra body, you're going to stay within the confines of the fourth dimensional cosmic paradigm. And it is big. It'll seem like a whole universe. And yes, there's light structures at the upper reaches of it, but you just got to realize it's still a fragmented state of being, and it is entrapment. And enlightenment is not the pineal gland. It's an old program. It's the Saturnian program, and the pineal gland exists in the mind, so therefore it's mental enlightenment. Even though it'll appear as though it's love, it is still a mental construct. If you want true light, if you want to get to the real stuff, you go in your heart and into deeper into yourself, into that heart center that I speak of, and there is the real stuff. There is true freedom and the true light. beyond the other programs.
Wow. Well, my goodness, you have been terrific today in sharing of yourself and opening some wonderful doors for everybody here. Just a quick question about your book. How's that coming along real quickly?
It's coming along well. I'm loving the challenge of trying to create, to put the biggest concepts possible in life into the most simplistic form possible for people to grasp.
Wonderful. Well, George, thank you so much for being with me, with all of us today. And this show will be aired on Saturday, the 27th, I believe. And we'll be doing a couple more shows, and those will be aired in subsequent Saturdays. So I look forward to further conversations, and we can delve deeper into this cosmic drama and enjoy your day.
Thank you, Lance, and it's certainly been an honor to be here. I really appreciate it, and you feel so familiar. It's nice to talk to an old friend.
Yes, isn't it? I love it. I love you, George, and I love Cynthia.
Yeah, I love you too, Lance. Thank you.
All right. Good night, and good day. And we'll talk again soon.